What is going on, guys? BCD here, back with another quick video, and today I wanted to talk about the HDMI 2.1 and the current state that it's in and whether you should care about it right now. Then we'll talk about the future of gaming. How it will impact gaming moving forward. But before we get started, don't forget you always have two options at the beginning of my videos. Always, you can either like and sub or sub and like. Thank you. So to start off, let's talk about the idea and promise of 4K 120. Xbox and Sony made big claims in regards to having 4K 120 output. First, about it being a reality, and for then being ready. And plenty people, myself included, there was a naysayer that basically it would not be possible that early in the generation. And for the most part, both were right. As of now, only a select few games support 120 FPS, and even less support 4K 120. So a lot of games have modes where you either sacrifice more frames for resolution or resolution for more frames. And the ones that you can do both generally are not pushing graphical fidelity to the max. Games like Ori and the Will of the Wisp, Rogue Company, Monster Boy, The Tourist, Minecraft Dungeons, Exomecha, Rainbow Six Siege, with some of those actually still having dynamic resolution. So it's not always hitting 4K natively, it's sometimes dynamic. To put it simply, the list is short, but the games that actually hit 120 frames per second or have a mode, that's a much longer list. As of now, I count 75 120 FPS experiences on the Xbox Series X and around 12 on the PlayStation 5. The lead is provided to the Xbox simply due to their backwards compatibility support and their FPS boost mode, where they went back and they upgraded a lot of games, a lot of EA games and things like that to a higher frame rate. So you can take advantage of the new power by going back and playing legacy games like the Xbox One game. Something that Sony just does not have an answer to, which is pretty disappointing, but hopefully they kind of have something like that in the future. So you may be thinking, like I'm thinking, basically more than half and a year later, we have 75 120 FPS games and about 15 4K 120 games, granted with dynamic resolutions. This isn't bad, to be honest. This is something that should be celebrated, basically, because they actually delivered, at least one company, on a lot of the games that they were toting were going to be able to be getting to these 120 FPS modes. Granted, they're older games, but the reality is that they have a lot of those. But is it something that we should be purchasing expensive TVs for that include HDMI 2.1? I'm not so sure. The current true next gen experiences still are falling short of that 4K 120 claim, and I believe that will be the case for a very long time. Halo Infinite is not a true next gen experience, so yeah, the multiplayer can run at 120 FPS. The next Horizon Zero Dawn, Forza, God of War, they will not run at 4K 120. It's not going to happen. Those games are just not going to get there. So 4K 120 is the big sell point for HDMI 2.1. And if you're like me, then yes, just having one game is enough. But the average person should focus on current game-changing features such as variable refresh rate or VRR, 4K support, native 120 hertz panel, native 1440p support, and HDR implementation, hopefully with Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos, because that is the future, regardless of what people think. Those are the current priorities that will effectively see the biggest difference in your gaming experience. When it comes to HDMI 2.1, leave that to the enthusiasts until the price comes down. It's just not worth it, especially when there are still plenty of issues to be worked through for early adopters like myself. As I reported, both the Vizio, Samsung, LG all have their fair share of problems. Understandably, making the right decision isn't always easy, because I will for sure be experiencing 4K 120 multiplayer on that Halo Infinite. But those that are a little bit more sound-minded, I say it's not worth it yet. And you're better off waiting for the technology to catch up before going out and buying. Because those 75 games that have 120 FPS, you can still take advantage of that without HDMI 2.1. And those 15 games that do have it can still be played and look great at 4K 60, which you don't need HDMI 2.1 for either. So yeah, that's pretty much it. But let me know what you guys think. Do you feel like spending the money now and investing in technology early is the smart way to go? Or do you think waiting is the better way to do it? Let me know in the comment section. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I will talk to you guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe, or subscribe and like. Talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.